today we have the designer of 777 Parawings, Aljaz Valik.
I was born and raised in a quite aviation family. We compete in a World Cup circuit for 10 years. So we were like team pilots, I think 3 world records. And we saw the BRM come out and it just clicked to me. The main, for me, revolutionary thing is the position of bar. You have direction control and you have pitch control. So you have all control in one hand.
90% of the brands out there, they have 3 points of attachments on the bar and you only have 2.
Yeah, I thought it will disturb me and I remove it from the first days. We need to understand that single skins operate at much higher angle of attack. Double skins, they are much more efficient. The main problem is still the takeoff.
And now you've launched a third model into the market, the UDW.
I want to have it really short lines, less aspect ratio, more compact wing. I want to pack it fast.
Is there an opportunity to make a hybrid Parawing, half double skin, half single skin?
We are already playing with it quite long and we are quite close to launch it, and I think this will be game changer.
Welcome to the Lab Rat Foiler podcast. My name is Dan, and today we have the designer of 777 Parawings, Aljaz Valik. I hope I got that right. Al, welcome to the podcast, man.
Hello, nice to meet you. Yeah. Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. We've been trying to line this up for a little while. A couple of times we had false starts, but I'm super stoked to have you here. 777's been in the parawinging industry pretty early since, last year when we had the first launches. I want to understand about the different Parawings that you have in your lineup, a little bit about who are they for. You have double skins, you have single skins. But before we get into all that, let's understand a little bit about you and your background in sports. So tell us a little bit how you got involved in sports and paragliding, and why did you decide to start a paragliding company?
Yeah. I was born and raised in a quite, let's say, aviation family. My father was a skydiving instructor and sailplane pilot. So I was quite like little kid into aviation and many other sports like sailing also. So yeah, like little kids, I start with aero modeling with my brother. So we were designing aero models and flying with radio control. And then later, like 15 years old, we start flying sailplanes. And we continue sailplaning till 18, but we feel quite limited there in aero club. So we switched to that time the paragliding really start to pick up and was really freedom. And so like 18 years old, we start with paragliding. And yeah, we start competing really fast in competition circuit already after 1 year of flying paragliders, because we just switched the sport. It was all about flying. So switching for sailplanes, flying to paragliders was quite easy. Just the how to say, the article was different, but all the rest, the theory of flying was the same. So we start to compete really fast with my brother and already achieving quite soon good results in national championships. And later we compete in a World Cup circuit for 10 years. So we were like team pilots and we were all the time reaching highest places. So many wins in a World Cup and World Championships. And we also achieve, I think, 3 world records in paragliding in cross-country flights. So I think in 2007 in South Africa, we make 430-kilometer inline flight, so straight distance flight. So this was the world record at that time, and many other records, but now they are all already broken. It's already a long time ago. But anyway, we in a paragliding, we also get into designing. And anyway, we were all the time technically, I was studying for a nautical engineer want to be pilot, but then the things went more to designing way. And so also I worked like 6 or 7 years in an ultralight plane company, like student. So I learned also there a lot about materials, designing processes. And so we were all the time in this living, this designing and flying, but also with water sports, to switch to the our topic. We start quite early, like little kids. We start with this optimist class, and we have also little sailing boat with father. So we sail already really like little kids on. So we were all the time into wind-driven sports. And we also start to play really soon with kite design before the inflatable kites came out. So this was around 99. We start to design ourselves the kite. We cut the tips of the paraglider, we sew it together, make the bar system, and we cut one fan surfboard, little, and actually we went in the water that time. We thought something is not really matching, but nowadays this thing will go, So we were already there in, I think was 98 or 99 with this kite before
Amazing.
inflatable tubes came out. And then we start kite surfing with the first these Whippy Cas and Takun kites in 2001, I think. But all the time, the water sport, was hobby. The professionalism was the flying and the competitions and the working as test pilots, like until last year when we also switched to the Parawings. But we really, I think with the 777, we established in 2012. And I think in 2019 we start to play, and we want to also launch that's the kites also, and we play with specific kites, really small size kites, because we were quite with the kites we were really interested in kite surfing on the waves. So we really a lot with the surfboard, riding the kites on all the breaks we have here around in Adriatic. And we were really designed to develop rammer kite, really nimble, small, not high performance, but really compact size, really able to drift well, to be super light. And we were really close to launch on the market because we play like almost 1 year, quite focused on this development of this water kite. But then it came out the wing foiling. And then we said this, because we really want to bring a super nimble kite, really small, that you can ride on 10-meter or 8-meter line. So that was our idea. So have really like kite, like go-kart, so you can really follow the move of your surfboard. But then the wing foiling came out, and we said, yeah, this is really completely matching, and I think we will fail in this. So we stopped. We were just maybe in 1 month, we said we will launch, but then we stop it and we start to wing foiling. Before we also kite foil a lot. So all this kite design was mentioned to be kite foiling on the waves, So not for the normal boards, but more, this was kites like 1.5 meters till 8-meter size. So really small, compact kites, which really have good traction and good steering.
Amazing. When did you start foiling?
Foiling, I start quite soon with kite, and I still do. It's really, I still like the feeling of kite foiling. It's really this high performance feeling, and you can really go in 6 knots. So this is really like flying to me still. So this is pure, but not only with high performance kites, also with more compact, like more free ride style with strapless little board. It's really amazing still. And still, I think still these kites are still missing on this market, if you ask me. The really compact rammer kites, or maybe some hybrids, I think they still have one missing point in the market. They are still not available. I think one company is doing it, little one. I forget now the name. but all the rest is mostly on more high performance, high aspect kites. So maybe still place in the market for this section of the kites.
So your foiling progression went from kite foiling to wing foiling.
Yeah.
And after wing foiling, you progressed on to the Parawing, or was there anything else in between there?
Yeah, between was we were anyway all the time in this. We don't have super good condition in Adriatic, but still we have wind driven swell. So in a good conditions, we can have quite big waves, but we don't have classic swells. So we were never really pronic. We were surfing, in holidays and this, just paddling and these things also, but we have quite limited conditions. So, but we start last 2 years before the Parawinging in last year, in August I started Parawinging. So between I did 1 year really extensively paddle foiling downwinders with a soup foiler. So I did this
How
a lot.
hard was it to learn that?
I think it's not easy, but I think I was quite fast, because I think I have good understanding of foiling. I was really a lot of downwind foil already with a wing foil. We were doing here quite like 10-kilometer downwinders with the wing foils already. So we were used to pump, and we just want to get rid of this, of the wing all the time in your sight vision. You cannot follow the wave, always limited. So then the pedal was next step for sure. We did it a lot of these deflate. So we did like, let's say, upwind with the wing for 10 kilometers, deflate in the middle of the sea, run downwind, pump, and again upwind. So all day like this. So we're really into it, because for me, foiling is really like flying. So follow the wave is, for me, it's like really linear with cross-country fly with a paragliding or sailplane. The same feeling, the same quite similar tactics, and just, let's say, more dynamic than flying sometimes. And then after this subfoiling, downwinders, we were all the time thinking, and I also start to play with my these kites I mentioned before. So that time we bring again 4 years old or 3 years old, these little kites, and we were thinking and playing how we can stop this device, This was last year, I mean, before the BRM come out, we were all the time speaking with brother and with my downwinder friends how we can get this solution. And I bring all these little kites again and think, and then we saw the BRM come out, and it just clicked to me, because for me, the main invention in Parawing, what was missing is the bar. How the BRM positioned the bar. And then this bar position, it was really revolutionary for me, for my personal like designer point. Because we were playing with different, we were close to this position, but never really tried. And then when we saw this, then was all matched. Because anyway, we have already little these kites we play a few years ago. And I just take one old kite, I position the bar, make the new bridle, and first day I was riding in end of August. So the main, for me, revolutionary thing, like I mentioned before, is the position of the bar alignment, to place it chord-wise, so you can control the pitch and you can steer, and all this you can achieve with one handle, because with double handle you can do this, but then it's not practical on water use, and I think this bar really works like a dream now. So this is the main trigger which missed in all the story many years.
It's interesting. Yeah, you said that because you following what Sam Reynolds was doing with the pocket wing and the double handle as well, or
yeah, sure. We follow all these things because anyway we were doing here every day. Looks, I know we don't have ocean, but we have sea, we have wind, we have waves. And we were
Mhm.
really a lot on the water and playing and just dreaming what to do, how to do to get rid of this towing device and just free fly the waves. So then it just clicked, and then was
Um,
quite easy after that. I mean, easy. A lot of work, but
and yeah, I imagine. Did you feel um what did you feel about designing a Parawing? Was it more work than you originally anticipated to get everything working and tuned properly?
But actually, we have really good experience with the Kite. We never launched because we play maybe 1 year really extensively, almost full time. We stopped paragliding and we just focus almost 1 year just pure on this, develop these new revolutionary kites, which we never launched then. But we learn really a lot about the angles because for sure it's some specific and some special needs which you need to be designed differently than paragliders that it works on the water on the special demands you have there. But we get quite all through these points with the kite designing. So Parawing was slightly touched, but actually I start Parawinging with my these double skin old kites actually. So I just change the lines, the new bar system, and I make the drainage for the water, and it just works straight away. So that's why we also launched the double skin that time, first time out, because we didn't have time to develop the single skin. So we just decided, I ride it quite maybe 2, 3, 4 months before launch, and we get through all the main solutions for the double skin. How to drain the water, we have a really good solution which works, I think, really great, and still nobody have it. And we make special bar with these transmissions, which for me it works fine, but for the general public, which was in a learning process of the parawinging, it was too complex. Then on the PT model, we replaced this to basic, more bar system without sliding pulleys, which then people start to understand easier and start to ride the kites. But as we see now, when BRM launched double skin, also quite similar problems with double skins. And I was already aware this at the beginning, but I thought the people will, let's say, progress faster than I expect. So
Yeah.
for sure, the single skins are a way to go into the sport. That's no doubt. So
Yeah, I remember when I first saw your double skin, and the pulley system, and hearing that people, I think because we were all still learning how to fly Parawings, it does add a little bit more complexity. The double skin, you need to pilot it a little bit more precisely. Um, but now you have single skins as well. And what's the hardest thing from, designing a double skin versus designing a single skin? What do those Parawings present in terms of challenges when you're designing them?
yeah, actually, we need to understand that single skins operate at much higher angle of attack to have
Mm.
the forum. The double skins, they are inflated with a stagnation, after stagnation point with a ram air pressure. So this stagnation pressure, and then they get the forum and they get blown into the forum. We design it with the ribs inside, and then cells get inflated. So those wings can really fly at lower angles of attack. That means they can go really, let's say, they can have more pitch variations, and then can be really neutralize the lift. They can be almost shit out to almost zero lift,
Yeah.
really small angle. But still, you need some lift always in the parasol or parafoil device to have the tension on the lines. When you lose the tension, the parawing or paraglider lose the geometry, So always you have some traction. You cannot shit it out like with the wing to have zero or also negative lift, To with parawing, you always need to have some pressure to keep the shape. So the main difference is, like I mentioned, is higher angle of attack on on the single skins. So also how the skin shapes are designed are different, the airfoils are different. So there are many different things, but also in our paragliding career, we designed many so-called single skin parawings, not parawings, paragliders. So
Paragliders, yeah.
there again, we have a really deep background in single skin paragliders also, which is same physics like now single skin Parawings on the water. So it's all our database from 10, 20 years of designing the paragliders. But the main plus, let's say, what are the main pluses of one of another?
Mm-hmm.
Single skin, it have really good, how to call it, static lift, let's say. You can really go almost to free falling canopy, only drag, pure drag, you know, and still
Mm-hmm.
really operates well. It's like spinnaker on the sailboat, if some people can understand. You can go from this, like really draggy mode, which just go wind 90 direction to the sail, the angle of the wind, and then you
Mm-hmm.
can go to some, let's say, I don't know, 10 degree of angle to the airfoil. But you cannot
Yep.
go lower because it start to push down from the
Yep.
airflow from above. So it have really good this per size. It really pulls well. This we already know from paragliding and anyway from the aerodynamic theory. So they have really good coefficient of lift, but they don't have good glide ratio. Glide ratio is it's a number. It's a ratio between drag and the lift. You know. So it
Mm-hmm.
means, with other words, with paragliding or flying, we can say the glide ratio is how much the one device will glide, so no power, will glide from 1 meter in a distance, in horizontal distance, you know, when you descend.
Mm-hmm.
This we call it high glide angle and or finesse. And this is double skins, they are here much better. They have better performance because they are really airfoil shaped right, and they are much more efficient, like you see in a race with the kite foils, where
Yep.
you can they all use inflated rammer kites because they can you can really first you can really ride big surfaces, and you can develop a lot of power, but you can get rid of this power, you know, because you have this angle variation, which brings you the coefficient of lift, how it works with different angles and speeds. So with double skins, you can go, with other words, more into the wind. So because
Mm-hmm.
of this glide angle, so you can really go with really low angles with apparent wind. So it means you can go really upwind, but you need bigger surface because you don't have this static pull, how I call it, like you have it on
Yep.
single skin. So the main problem, as we all know, in Parawings is still the takeoff.
Yep.
How to have the compact, with other words, if it's compact, it's steerable, it's easy to maintain in the air. So this point, the single skin Parawings much better. So in the phase we are now, the main thing is to get on the foil, and then when you are on the foil, it's already really efficient, so you don't need super efficient also device which pulls you. You can fly the foil also upwind with almost the plastic bag in the hand because it's so
Yeah.
efficient. So the main thing is to take off, to get on the foil. So in this case, the single skin Parawings perform better, yeah, for sure. And this
Yep.
is physics, and will always be like this, you know. Just pure takeoff and the simplicity of takeoff with single skins will be always much easier than with double skin Parawings. But when
Is
you're
there an opportunity to make, and this is me just spitballing ideas right now, is there an opportunity to make a hybrid Parawing, half double skin, half single skin?
yeah, and we are already playing with it quite long, and we are quite close to launch it, and I think this will be game changer. What I feel now when I test ride and play with it, In Parawing, it will be game changer for sure. And we are really close now, maybe to finish in a future
Nice. I'm curious to see
cycles.
how
Yeah.
that
But this
comes out.
it works good and it fulfills all the minuses and pluses of each design. And we also experiment a lot with the hybrid kites. So we have also this database quite well known. So we are just now transforming our knowledge from one product to another. So we just putting
Amazing.
pieces together. Yeah.
One thing, Al, that I really love about your Parawings is the bar system, the line attachments to the bar, and how you don't have the B lines attached to the bar like probably 90% of the brands out there. They have 3 points of attachments on the bar, and you only have 2. How hard is it to remove those B lines attachments from the bar to create a cleaner bar?
Yeah, this I already fought my attention already beginning. So already my first Parawings didn't have this middle line, which I felt it will disturb me too much. And so I remove it. And then when we launch PT, anyway, we have this bridle system with the pulley, which anyway needs to sliding. And I also found nice because of this, like we call it like we had in the PT, was this like servo, we call it servo mechanism. So the B line is slides, and this sliding, it's moving the balance point of the force on your bar. So when you stall it, the B slides more in front. So your bar is always, you don't take so much this moment of the wing, you take the pulling force for sure, but the moment of the wing, it's all the time more neutral. So when you want to stall it, it's like servo mechanism. You stall it, but it's not this high pressure which want to refly again. It's more like less pressure, like driving servo wheel, So when you do like jibes and this with this system, it's really nice, but it's for sure the feedback from the canopy back, it's already more tuned or damped. So if you are not like experienced rider, it makes you, let's say, more negative than positive things. But when you know how to ride it, it's really nice because you just have all the time just the propulsion, the force of traction, but you don't have the steering forces so big. So when you do jibes and this, you can really do like parachutals one-handed, but really light pressure, back pressure, So it's all the time. This is this sliding system which gives the pluses. But let's go back to this middle line. Yeah, I thought it will disturb me, and I remove it from the first days. So I also ride from the first days with the harness loop because I wanna ride it power and I wanna really rip up wind hard. So it means I need big force. And then I knew I can hold it, but why should hold it? Because for sure with the trapeze, when you are connected to the harness, you can really control the pitch more sensitively, and you can really ride fast and hard because you don't have this so much. Because also when you are connected to the harness, your hooking point is lower balance, more down. So you have less this pitch nose down moment when the gas comes, Because if you hold with the arm, which is higher, you have more negative moment, I call it, like moment nose down with the board, because your arm is higher, so it pulls you down. So when with the harness, this is much more to the board balance point, and it less this moment, which gives you nose down in gusts. So for sure, with the harness, you can really go harder and more precise and safer on the end.
Interesting. And the PT skin is the first single skin that you launched in the market. What are the best characteristics of that PT skin? What does it do really well so people can start understanding what models do what things in your lineup?
Yeah. The PT first was launched double skin. This was for sure meant to be for performance riding and long upwind rides, and then in a, let's say in a easy, long, fast swell, you have time to stow this double skin, and then you can really go long glides without relaunch again the wing. And then we already from start we know we will design the single skins also. So then we start develop the PT skin, how we call it. And the main focus, which we already experienced from the double skin, was that the overall weight of the canopy, it matters really a lot. So that we already figure out with the PT, because let's say when you are your wing is really into upwind mode, so it means it's on the side quite low and in front of you, which is the mode to go upwind hard. That time the gravity really works onto your parawing, and you need to be compensated with the lift up to compensate the weight. So all the time you need to, instead of riding your wing like really horizontal, you have to all the time ride it like this to compensate the weight. So the heavier is your parawing, more you have compensate this. So it means more you have to lean your wing like upwards. So you are losing this propulsion, but also you have all the time this annoying effect on your hands, which you need to compensate all the time. And we already figure out this with the PT, and with the PT that time we launched it, and we were afraid to have really too high cost of production. So in the last phase of development, we go to heavier material, which was, let's say, for sure not the good point of the PT. Basically, we are playing a lot before with the really super light materials, but they are extremely expensive. So the price of the product that time will be unreachable for the newborn sport, let's say. So we decide to go to normal cloth like other use it in like 32-gram cloth, which was cheaper. But it was mistake to not stay in the same cloth we're using now with the PT skin. But already the PT was tested, and till the final phases was run on this super light cloth. But then overall cost give it to high price, so we go to high, more heavy cloth, and for sure the flying characteristic were worse than.
Yeah.
But this is the main reason what I explained, to compensate the weight, you need to bring from this position to this, and this is all the time pushing bar. So the lighter is product, less you have this compensating the weight of and single skins anyway, they are lighter. And from the beginning of the PT skin, I designed fully the lightest material reachable, and I really take focus on each rib to delete all unnecessary weight. We use super light plastic, super thin. We use one extra reinforcements. I don't know if you check the skin, how it's made. I also use in the nose, so the airfoil in front, when you really rip high angles, I have one vertical batten which prevent deformation of the nose radius. So you can really put a lot of force on the ripping upwind, but you still don't get deformation on the nose, because this vertical plastic is preventing this. So it's there are many reinforcements. Then we also have this G-bus arch, we call it in paragliding. So you have line bridle attachment, and then higher on this ventral rib, you have one circular shaped plastic reinforcement, which transforms the connection point from the line from one point, which disturbs the load evenly to the bigger surface of the rib without deformation. Because if you pull on the fabric, like it's rib, if you just pull in for one point, if you don't have this arch, this load will go just where the fibers are. So usually the fibers are like this in the ribs. So this here will give really high distribution of force, but all this side and this side will be less. So with this arc, you spread the load more evenly to bigger surface of the rib from the bridle point. So from the contact point, you disturb the load to the highest surface on the top. So all these reinforcements make sense, and it gives difference when you fly the wing. You have really compact wing. You can really pump it from low end, which I want. So all is think and it have a reason why it's there. Then all the reefs, we have perforations on the PT skin. So also when the wing fell into the water, when you are pulling out, this perforation, it works so the water can more easily run through it. So when you pull, it's not like water anchor, it's more easy to go out because the water all goes there between the reefs. But also they're lighter, and also when you move the wind, when you are flying the wing, when you go from let's say moving direction, it can slide the air through, so it's more maneuverable, the wing. It's not so traction, so you have live wing in your hands. So all it's but for sure it's more work, it's more expensive to produce, but we want to give the best to the people, so we really try to focus to build really best performing product we can do with our knowledge we have. And I think with
and look, it's been really well accepted in the market. I talked to a lot of what I consider, one of the best riders, a couple of the best riders out there, and they've all, ridden your Parawings, and they all have really good things to say, which is awesome. That's what you want as a designer, to get good feedback. And now you've launched a third model into the market, the UDW.
Yeah.
So it looks like a little bit more lower aspect Parawing single skin. How does that compare to the PT skin? What are the differences between those two, so people can understand which one they can get?
Okay, so when we finalize the PT skin, I start to play with the new concept. So which will work even at higher angles of attack, let's call it. So I want to achieve better this static ground when I pump. This was the first idea, the goal. The second goal was I want to have it really short lines. So I can ride technical swells. I can ride really breaks, like short breaks, when your time to stop is really limited. So the idea was I want to bring really compact wing, which don't have too much wingspan. So when you are in the waves, sometimes you can have really, like in breaks, you have really condensed waves. So it's not open wave. This oscillation is really condensed. So you have really up and down peaks. And for sure, when you have higher aspect ratio, this doesn't help you when you want to start, because you are touching the water all the time. So I want to have to bring maximum surface into lowest span wise, so this, and I increase the supporting points, so for sure it has little more drag, but I want with the more support points, so it means with more bridle, especially in the first part of the profile, I want to build really direct and really high load shape, which doesn't deform when I pull it, So this was idea. And then I specially designed also the airfoil to really work. So the airfoil is really specially designed that it works almost like slots on the airplanes, like extra wing in front. So the nose radius it's designed to really work for high angles. So the nose is really like this. So it really work when the air comes from high angles. So when you want to start and this, it really nice split the flow. So the nose radius is specially designed, different shape, and also the airfoil is really thin. First, to have this really slide that the wing really cuts through the air nice, but also to reduce overall weight of the ribs and material. So the airfoil is really thin. These ventral ribs are really small, so all is really less material, with other words, but we have more lines to have this support, because like on the PT skin, I don't use, if you check the PT skin, we use this extra ventral line, no ventral line, I forget how I call it now, but we use one line on the B lines row to reduce the line number. So on the A, I have every rib, I have lines. On the B point, which is 1 point behind, I have every third rib line. And between is one extra line, which I call it a ventral line, and it works like diagonal. So from this cell where is the line B line, it goes diagonally up to the other rib, then transforms to another and goes again down to another hooking point. So this works like to split the loads, but reduce line numbers. In
Nice.
paragliding, we use these like diagonals, but here in single skin, you can tweak this with a line. And it doesn't have a lot of drag, but you reduce the total line numbers.
That's huge. That's such a yeah. That's an amazing advantage. Does it help keep the structure of the
Yeah,
Parawing and make it last a little bit longer?
yeah, yeah. It's actually to reduce the lines, is idea.
Okay.
So you have one line up, but then you have one micro line which split the load from this rib to another rib, which is no line there. So you cheat this with with this extra span-wise line. But in the UDV, this is the new product, we have just built more lines, so we have really direct contact to the canopy, and yeah, specially designed airfoil, less aspect ratio, more compact wing, not inflatable tips, because for the brakes, for the really technical swells, you don't have time. So
No.
we decrease performance for sure little, but we want to have this response time. I want to pack it fast. I want to repack it 99% repeatably. And I don't want to for sure lose 10 seconds or 5 seconds for drain the water from the tips, which with the PT scheme works fine, but for sure every detail, it takes your time in a critical segment in the sea, you know. So each product is positioned to the specifics you need. So if you want to go upwind, long runs, you ride the PT. If you playing the bigger park with still long upwind runs, you can go with PT skin. But if you have really technical break or short swell or quite difficult swell, the focus is just to retract fast and restart fast. So that's why we launched this model. And it's really
I love it.
also the volume when you pack this wing is even smaller than a PT skin.
And the
And
PT skin is already
yeah,
so good.
yeah.
Like it's so small compared to a lot of the Parawings out there. I don't know what fabric you're using specifically, but two things that come to mind. One is obviously the thickness of the fabric, but also how it allows the air to go through the fabric, and it just disappears. Very much like, the BRMs are the next one that I think that have a similar packability, and all the other ones are still very far from being packable like yours and the BRM.
Yeah, it's all is about compromises, but for sure the material it's game changer, that's for sure. But material are the cost, you know. The lighter
Yeah.
you go, the price go just up. So we really squeeze the price, and we are still positioned price wise. I think we are positioned well, but for sure we are not running in high margins with this product, because we have the best material on the market, which means the most expensive. Also, the ribs are from the best, lightest, high this hard coat material from the Porsche. So all material we use are the best, but it means they are also the lines. If you go to the lines, we use the best lines like we use in competition paragliders. So these are Elite lines from the base material is Kevlar, and they are all spliced, you know. So
That's amazing.
you don't have this double line, which all the time it's hooking. So it's all spliced with a needle. But the main reason why we use this line is, first is the handling, so you don't have these sharp edges. The second thing, which is more important, and the people will start to recognize it is the stability of geometry. This is really important thing, which we're already facing in paragliding industry for 20 years or more. The stability of line means that the line keeps the specific dimension, which is, if the line moves for a few millimeters, it already affects the flying characteristics. And the Kevlar lines are the only lines which are super stable in humid conditions. So if you use Dyneema lines, Dyneema actually is nice material. It have better strength factors. So for per given diameter is stronger, but the problem is it absorbs the water and it changes geometry a lot. And that for sure you don't want in the Parawing, where you're flying 1 meter shorts, where 2 millimeter shrink or 4 millimeter shrink already change the flying characteristic of the wing. That's why we use Kevlar, which is super stable, but again, it's more difficult to produce because you need to manually splice each loop and put through with a needle and then stitch it. But the line you make is perfect. It will stay with dimension, and wing will fly from first bay till when you break it or it's really material ruined, will fly quite same. With Dyneema, I have really doubt that it will do it because it changed too much geometry. So many which they use Dyneema, for sure they will, after time, they will get problem. It's because geometry, it really all in this. Because it's really sensitive. Parawings are small devices, and few millimeter means a lot. And usually the backlines, which are not stressed a lot, they have tendency to shrink. This quite like 5% per length, the shrink. So it can easily shrink 1 centimeter too, and then it will not fly the same anymore. So that's why we use Kevlar. But we use really to be friendly when you stow it. We use much thicker diameters than actually they are structurally needed, for the loads we fly. So those lines we use, they are like 300 kilo lines, 200 kilo lines. They are really super strong. You don't need so strong, but you need it just to be safe, not safe, but user friendly, when you slide the line, when you stow the glider. And also the new one, this UDV, the new model, we also put focus on this, and we put even thicker lines on the A, really to be gentle to your hands, so you can really slide but not be cut or something. So you can do many times if you like ride up, let's say like one break, you can do many times, just stow, ride wave like 1 minute, again relaunch. So you do really repeatedly this, and then your hands get damaged for sure. So we put thicker diameter of the A lines just for that reason.
I like that. My riding style is very much like that. I like to go to a performing spot, be it a wave spot or a performing area here in the bay, and just do laps. Go up maybe 500 meters, a kilometer, and come down. And when I'm doing that, originally my focus was on a Parawing that went upwind well, but now I feel like I get a lot more out of my session for a Parawing that stows well and redeploys well, because I'm doing that 20 times, 30 times. So if I get a tangle and come down 10 times and have to sort out, that's 2 minutes. So you just lose a lot of time. And I think the Parawings now, they all go upwind. You're losing a few degrees, and I love the concepts of the UDW for that, because that's where I'm enjoying to ride.
Actually, that was my basic idea, like you mentioned now, because I recognize the more you are technical with the Parawing, bigger sizes anyway you can ride, and with half meter bigger size, you can get this angle of higher performance, lower size wing, So actually, if you check also I try to build all the models to be sizes matched, So let's say the PT 5.6 matches the PT Skin 5.4, and it matches the PT UDV, this new model, the PT6. So, also I try to be, when I have sizes, they are all through the model gamma range, they are arranged for the same wind range.
Oh, that's very, very helpful.
Yeah. And also,
it's cool because people can choose different models for different things depending on what they're going to use it for. I like that.
I'll try this to calculate and try on the water and see that really matches well. So this is also my focus. Another thing which I want to mention with this new model is also we try to even minimize more the bar. So the bar on the new one is also smaller overall, and it has 1 or 2 centimeters more this front A over.
Yeah.
And I think we were also the first which we launched this out. The first position, the A, let's say the first hand position, where is the A point. We were the first brand which we designed this bar with this overlapping in front of A.
Nice.
So this we already start with the PT. This was in January or February we launched. So we feel.
Do you know how long the bar is for the UDW? Is it around like 11 inches, 12 inches?
From my head, the small one, the 3 meter, 3.2 have 32 centimeter.
32 centimeters. I don't know what that is in inches, but we can convert.
Yeah, but I think it's in the line with it's not so extreme like BRM, but it's quite close. And then the
12.5.
The 4 meter is 35, and the 5.6 is around 38, something like this.
Yeah.
So
and that's also like those little details for me make such a difference, because you don't need the same bar size on a 3 that you do on a 5. So reducing the bar it just makes the stowing so much better. You don't have that bar sticking out, less bar for you to get that little tangle on. So all those things are super helpful.
But also my idea already from beginning is I want the same feel from all the sizes, That's why all the sizes are really linearly zoomed. So it means, like you mentioned, we are one of not many companies which every size have bar dimension. So it gives you same handling, or as it can be the same. So you have same feeling with 3, same then with the 4. You don't feel any difference in flying characteristic, because also the bar is linearly zoomed to the size. This, and also we clean the harness. We already, from the first day, from the PT, we also give serial the harness loop with with our bar systems, and we now really polish the bar. Also the new version of the PT skin, they have the new harness loop, which have no hooking points. We really try to make all smooth and light. So now we have a new harness loop, which first is more clean. So in the middle, where is the back position of the bar, it doesn't have this extra Velcro something which always tends to cut the line. So it's really directly mount. And another solution, we use more thick tube. So it also, you can hook with just with the bar, You don't need to you don't need to hold the harness loop when you hook it, because you can do just with the torsion and it's fixed to the bar. So when you move the bar, the harness loop, it works. So you can hook it and unhook it without holding the line. So it's like with the windsurf style, but it's still light and without any unnecessary hooking points, which can tend to then catch the lines when you stow or something. So the bar for me should be really clean and smooth and light. That's the priority. I hate heavy things, So the bar should be super light with high quality carbon, and that's it. And simple, as simple as possible.
Yeah, I like that. And I saw on your Instagram, you testing something really big. There was a 7.3 meter Parawing you were flying in. How many knots were you flying that in?
Actually, I hate to give condition because it's really difficult to judge. And I'm running, last half year, I'm riding quite small equipment. So I ride my wakeboard and foil around 1,000. So this is my daily quiver to go in normal condition.
How much do you weigh out?
I'm 87 kilo or 80 kilo, and I use 85-liter board, 5.4. and 1,000 foils. So I think I can go in, if it's, let's say if it's not wavy surface, I think I can launch in 10 knots with this.
Wow.
or 12 knots, but 12 knots for sure it's easy to launch. But mostly why we launched this wing, my idea firstly was to give support to the bigger guys, which want to ride in 50 knots. And this is missing.
Yep.
And I have experience before with double skin 8 meter. I play a lot. It was really demanding to fly, but it was promising, but too technical to ride. But with single skin 7.3 meter, it's really pleasure because these things stay in lightest breeze in the air, even when it's wet, because it's much lighter and it can operate higher angles, doesn't stall, with double skin. If you go below certain angle, it have tendency to stall because you have no airflow circulation. But single skins, you can fly really high angles, so this is not a problem. And now I'm riding like 1 week with this 7.3. I'm super happy. I can stow it super easy. So I can still ride my small technical wave I have here in my region. So I think we will launch it really soon, the 7. And it can really, for cruising, it's really nice. But also, let's say we do many times like open sea downwinders. And my main problem nowadays is when I ride the foil, you can ride it, and then you come to the region with the low wind conditions, and you are far away from the shore, and if you fail, you are fucked. You are there, with a little board. And also this was my idea to have this safety device, like 7 meter, it can still pack. I don't have it here, otherwise I can show it. It really packs small, and you can just have it for this extra boost or safety device, You can still go, because usually when I go, let's say open downwinders, usually I have 3 Parawings with me. I start, let's say, with the 3, otherwise I don't even go in really far from the shore. And then when I switch to the 4 meter, if I fail, for sure, is the first warning, Then when I start to get problems with the 4 meter, when I switch to 5, then usually I said, no, maybe now it's time to approach the shore, because if it even drops more, is no jolly in the pocket anymore. But now with the 7, I still have maybe 3 more knots to go down, because many times we have nice swell even with 30 knots of the wind. If you go out of the shore, the less wind you have, the more you have to go out of the shore to have a running system well. So that's but the main plus is this, because I ride many times now with my friend. He is doing with subfoiling, and he's not afraid of this, no? But I'm always, in the open sea. If something go wrong, I went there.
Yeah, look, we've all been there, man. And I mean, I'm curious to understand how that 7.3 turns and maneuvers, because big Parawings are hard to fly, especially in light wind. Jibing and things, you really need to know how to jibe properly and position the Parawing properly.
It can do I can do Heineken jibe with 7 meter. It's still possible.
Okay.
So it's you can down loop it, but it's so light, so you can just, before the jibe, you just little shit upwind, you put it quite in a parachutal mode, and then you do jibe and you pull it with the hand, and it's no problem. I'm amazed how it works for the size. So for sure, in the future, we will ride these sizes in 10, 12 knot conditions, but this I'm speaking with normal board. With downwind board, you can go, 2 knots down even. Not 2 when it's light wind. If you say in a light wind condition, 10 knots or 8 knots, it's big difference. This is 20% of the wind less, It's not the same like when you say 36 or 38 knots,
Yeah.
So it's not linear with the wind speed, so. But I think 10 knots will be able to run with the big boards,
And what about the line length? That's the other thing that I always am curious.
Yeah, this I play a lot, and I try to approach the limits always, but in all paragliding or parawing design, there is certain limit which you cannot go below. If you go below this line length, your angles of the line splitting are too extreme, and your canopy start to deform, So there is always link between the arch you made and the hooking focus point of where is the bar is. So it's all about the many factors, and you play on the end with centimeters to have the shortest possible, but still clean canopy, you know.
The one thing that I've been talking about with a few of my friends and ideas that we have is to ask the brands, and it's nice to have a designer here with us. If how hard it is for us to, for example, when we're buying a Parawing, we choose the size, and then the next step is we choose the line length. So maybe people that want a little bit more power can choose longer lines, and people who want more direct, agile, easier stows can choose a smaller line. Is that something that is hard to introduce in the production of these Parawings?
Actually, lines, they have some connection with this, let's say, the power it builds, but actually it's not only by the lines. For sure, if you have longer lines, you have little this kite, let's say, kite pendulum effect, you know, when you take off, if you have higher canopy, then you can still bring little down and up, and it already give you a few newtons more to take off, which makes sense if you fly or not. It's on the limit many times, you know. So with longer lines, you can build little this kite effect, yeah. But mostly it's about the airfoil shape, how your angles. So it's not only to look only the line length, how it will pull. It's not like this. But it for sure, longer lines, it give you this pendulum little, yeah. So, but it's not only this. So it's many factors.
And
So,
would it work if all the lines still connect to the same attachment, and then you have a straight point to the bar that is a little bit farther away to get that pendulum, and then
yeah.
the shape of the canopies
I
is still the
was
same?
also thinking to bring extension to the market, you know. So you have one kite, and then when the wind drop, you have maybe just integrate it into the bar that you can release the canopy extra 20 centimeters higher, you know, and you have this extra boost. But it's all over engineered and it's getting bulky,
Yeah.
and maybe you can do it on the ground, but to be this all integrated, you lose this lightness, this simplicity feel, and I don't want this mess up. To bring maybe 1% better takeoff or something, and then you stow it.
Yeah.
But for
The reason I think about it is because the wind range in the Parawings is still a little bit narrow, and I'm sure it's going to get better with better innovations and everything that we're thinking about. But if I, for example, only have one Parawing, a 4 meter, and it's around 16, 18 knots, on that day I might choose to put an extension on to get a little bit more power. So that might help you not, if you only have one, to get a little bit more out of it
for
in
sure
those
it
days that you need a little bit more power.
for sure it will work. You will sacrifice the handling because it will not be it will be like twitchy, more like, how to say it, like chewing gum, you know, because you
Jelly,
have a
like
single
less
point.
responsive.
Yeah, you have this single line which will go up, well, let's say half meter, and then you have this. We already tried, tested little plate, but it's for sure the boundary layer of the water is really important with the wind speed, if you understand. So you have surface of the water. So if you are flying these Parawings are really low devices, and you fly it in a really boundary layer of the wind from the water surface. So you already feel this feeling when you take off with the foil. One is apparent wind when you start to beat, but it's not only apparent wind, it's also the boundary layer. So when you take off, you get let's say half meter or 70, 80 centimeter higher above the water surface. And you already are higher where the wind speed is more realistically, not in this boundary layer where you change speed to the zero at water surface. So all these are little things, but you feel it, you know. So with half meter higher lines, your canopy is higher above the water. The wind speed, because of the friction, is already bigger. So it makes sense for sure. But yeah, it's for sure it works. That's no doubt. It will work. But if it's practical, this is another. You can do just kite loop, and it's easy to extension. In let's say in my bar, we're super busy because you need just two extension point because we don't have middle. and geometry say the same. So for us, it will be really easy to bring extension. It will be with our bar is maybe 1 minute job to do this, because I just bring bigger loops, and my bar connection is, you see how they are done. They are just run through the hole and loop it over. So you just unloop it, you bring extension between, and your lines are half meter longer. So this is 2 lines and you have higher. So it's possible, but yeah. I think for most of the people already this modification is too technical.
I know. We're getting ahead of ourselves, but we've been in it since the beginning, and now we're all thinking, what are the extra little bits that we can have to tweak what the Parawings we have, the sizes that we have to compensate for a little bit of that wind range. But I also feel that there's a big opportunity for accessories and new accessories in the market. What do you feel is working well when you think about, for example, stashing equipment out there?
But yeah, first, let's say the most important equipment in Parawinging is the harness. I ride it with the harness from day one. I like this free flying sensation, but if you want to ride all day and want to really rip upwind, highly powered, then you just use. I also do jibe sometimes with the harness hooked in. So the harness is super important part of equipment if you want to ride like 5 hours or 4 hours daily, like we do here sometimes. So the harness, then we play a lot with the different stash bags, we play a lot, we never launch it, because honestly, we have one, we can launch it to the market, but still I don't feel need for a stash bag, because I prefer to hold it in my hand in a small ball. And even I do last week or 2 weeks ago, I did like 20-kilometer run downwind just in one shot. I just launch, pack it, 20-kilometer, 1 hour and a half in quite weak, moderate condition, but with single retraction, just ride the wave. And in my hand, and I didn't really feel need to put it somewhere. Maybe I look more cool because I put it somewhere, but generally, I personally, maybe I'm wrong. This is my personal feeling. I don't need it to put it somewhere. But mostly I do, let's say, 2-3 kilometer downwinders. And so there for sure you don't need to stow it somewhere. You just small ball in your hand. If you learn to pack it well, you can really have it nothing in your hand. It's really like this. And then you can really upwind, rip upwind, pump next way upwind, and you don't feel the drag. So I don't know. But for sure, yeah, the stash bags, we play with different, also one in front like kangaroo style. It works nice because you can use, the idea was that you can still use the harness to hook in and still you have this back here. And we develop it, but we still don't launch it because I don't use it actually. I use just hands.
Yeah.
I prefer simple.
Do you know where I really think the stash belts are good? In a wave scenario where you have to go through a shore break or something like that, having the Parawing in between the board and your stomach while you're paddling, it you lose it. So those are the scenarios that I feel are good. And Dimitri in Mauritius, he's developing some cool vests. I really like what he's doing. And when I saw that, I'm like, wow, that's really good. Because sometimes if you have to paddle out and even duck dive to get out, then the Parawing starts to fall away.
Yeah, it can also go around your arm, and then it's a big problem. If you get in the swell and the break with the can be not nice experience.
What was the gnarliest experience you had out there with the Parawing? Anything that was kind of dangerous that you went through?
But actually, I'm quite used of the lines through all these my years with the line sports, so I'm pretty fast with untangling things already from paragliding. Maybe the worst was I was riding. We were making one movie with a double skin, and I fell in the one break point, and the board went through the wing actually. So the mass was around, and I didn't have much time because another set was coming. So I was thinking just to break away from the board and the Parawing and just wait in a safe distance that it goes. But anyway, it was not a nasty break. It was just 2-meter wave or something like this, not really big, but you never know, you know. All this surface, when you hit the water, it's big force. So it's
Yeah.
not good to be played. I prefer just to leave it and take time to think and then go back after the break, because if you're right in break condition, yeah, Parawing can be dangerous if you don't approach right, or if you don't have scenario in your hand what to do. And for sure, knife, it helps if you are fast with it. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. You have to practice those safety
Yeah.
procedures. If you have a kite knife in your harness and you never take it
Yeah.
out in a session, when it
You
comes to the
don't
time
have
comes to
time,
use
yeah.
it, you're not gonna. Nah,
Yeah.
it's too. Yeah, it has to be a quick
Instinctively, yeah.
decision, and
Yeah.
you're deciding to get rid of your equipment. So it's a
Yeah.
big decision to make.
You need to program yourself in front, otherwise you will not react in situation. That's for sure.
Mm. And what improvements, Al, do you think we can expect from Parawings in the future? What are the things that you look at Parawings? You're like, I really want to make this better.
Yeah, for sure we can still play with the concepts. One concept for sure which is missing is some link between double skins and single skins, which we are already trying and testing. And I think we'll bring this sweet point from both worlds, like some hybrid design. And I think it's really promising, works well, this. Then for sure is this takeoff ability, which I mentioned. We really need to build compact wing, which can be pumpable. We can never cheat physics, but we can really approach with little details, with nice force distribution, with really right bridle supports. We can really approach to this hard wing feeling. It will never be the same because you always need to be in a pressure with the lines, when lines lose the pressure, the canopy lose the shape, doesn't hold. So, but with fine tuning, you can approach to this with the skin tension of the sail. It's special airfoil. How is the trailing edge? How the brakes works? It's many things. Little details, little steps. Revolution is already done. That's reality. Now we will do hard works, little steps, trying, testing, computer again, redesign. So now is real work. Revolution is over. Yeah.
Yeah, it's there. I think, we definitely, it is a new industry. There's no doubt about it. Everybody that touches a Parawing that knows how to foil, they get really hooked on it pretty quickly.
Yeah. I'm completely hooked. I didn't even touch wing 1 year now. I went kite foiling still because I love the sensation and it's really similar to Parawings. But wing foil, it's really nice device. It's nice for free ride in a flat. I still like it because you can do all these turns with just on the foil and just dynamic, and the wing you just use it like, you can just cut through the wind. You cannot do this with the Parawing. But I'm so stoked with the Parawings that I do only this. And so, and for sure there will be more division in Parawings. For sure,
let's talk about that.
Yeah.
So you were mentioning that you see a few things coming. So racing is one of them, you said?
I think racing will be really interested and it can go really good. I play already with prototypes. They are still quite technical to use. But when it's the right condition and the right wind, it goes really not same like kite foil, but really can approach to the performance of the kite foiling. So maybe can be Olympical discipline in the future also. But I think the most interesting will be some crossover, some like Parawing races in some crossover format. So you have like upwind leg, then you have downwind. This will be really the core, the heart of this sport, I think. Some discipline like this. So you
That'd
need
be really cool to watch a circuit.
And also nice to watch.
Yeah.
You can have maybe, let's say one, if you have specific condition, you have one peninsula, here you have waves. So you have one leg upwind in a flat, then you hit the wave spot, you downwind without, and then you hit like race mark again. So you do like some triangles in some spots like this. I have many opportunities for this sport. But for sure it will go to, let's say, for a race division, to some free ride, to what we have this downwind and really pure downwind. So we will have for sure in the future, I think we'll have like at least 3-4 models in Parawings. Each company will
Yeah,
give out.
I would include in there waves because it is a specific discipline on
Yeah.
its own. People that want to
Yeah.
focus on waves, and when I speak waves, I think there's people who might just stow the Parawing and ride the wave, and that will be interesting because the gear that people can use on a wave on a Parawing is very different from other sports, but also powered up wave riding.
Yeah.
And what you see people do now, I don't know if you've seen clips of Malo, for example, clearing sections and doing those things and boosting and doing tricks. And I mean, that's going to come.
Yeah, I think, like I mentioned, beginning of this conversation, the revolution is in a bar, you know. And also I see also the way of this bar to go into the kite design I did in the past for the wave riding. Also the tube kites, like it's plum, let's say, like the F1 designed this, people smiling, but I think this bar, it can go even into the wave kites on the short lines with the surfboards or whatever. For sure it's bigger. But the way you steer, because with this bar, you have power delivery and you have steering unhooked. Before we were never able. When you kite before with the kite, if I ride kite surfing and I want to unhooked with my bar to have this sensation from the pulling with my hand to ride the wave, it was always fixed power, you know. But with this bar, you have direction control and you have pitch control. So you have all control in one hand. And that's the revolution in this. This bar is really revolutionary to all segments. And I think in the future, it will also touch maybe the kites in a smaller lines. You can ride the kites with this bar also. So I think will be some really crossovering or all discipline in the future, I guess. That's my view.
Yeah, and I've mentioned to a few people that I feel that parawinging will bring people into kiting, which was the first kind of revolution, and then we went to winging, and people now being exposed to lines for the first time and getting rid of that fear of lines. All of a sudden, once they know how to parawing, they'll be like, "Oh, what if we put 50-meter lines on this?" And you're like, "Well, that's a kite, my friend."
I think maybe the first step will be maybe 4, 5, 6 meter height, which will be the, let's say, the level between parawing and the kite. It will be.
Yeah.
So you have the little less steerability like with the parawing, but you are closer with pulling to the kites. So I think the field is really open with this bar solution now. So let's see what the time will bring. Yeah. It's all in the head.
Do you feel that there's... Sorry, go ahead.
I said it's all in a people imagination and skill and ability, you know. It's no limits.
Yeah. Do you feel there's much improvement to be had in the materials, like we saw in winging, for example? You know, Alula was something that revolutionized how a wing canopy was created, and the tension in that canopy and everything. Do you feel that there's something that we can still find in Parawings that we haven't explored?
The good thing about Parawings is they are really small surfaces. So with in other words, if I use expensive material, the overall price will not drastically kick up. You know, with the paragliders, we use like 50 square meters of material, you know. So if my price of material is double, then the price of paraglider is really jump to infinity. So with Parawings, I think we can use quite expensive material and still to reasonable. The product final price can be reasonable. But mainly, okay, the weight of the material is important. The next thing is durability. It's really important but durability again is connected into the condition you use the parawing and how it's designed. If your parawing is, let's say, not shaped well, so the tensions are not good, so you have constant fluttering. The fluttering kills material now really, really fast. So if you have like all the time, this is really afterburner to kill the material. So if your tensions are really well, so the wing is compact, doesn't flatter, for sure it will leave more than the wing which all the time is like doing.
Yeah.
So this is one. And I think the special material can be developed for the Parawing with really important is the water repellency, you know. It's how the water goes when it falls to the water. So when anyway, you notice this, when you have nice Parawing, a new Parawing, it really drops water down fast. Then after maybe 20 hours or more already start to more tend to stick to the surface because your coating, because you constantly, you packing, you opening. Also the load on the surface on Parawing is quite high because we ride small surfaces. So the material, it's really, with this packing, you get abrasive to the material with your hands, with the water all. So your coating is, it's disintegrating slowly, so it's soaking water more and more. So you don't have this crispy feeling anymore. So I think we need to really focus to really develop good water repellency. This is the main challenge. And when the market will be interesting and big enough, also the material producers will focus on this matter more. And I think here is quite, we can improve, but mostly is by designing. Like I mentioned before, revolution is gone. It's only small details and playing and testing. So this is the future. Yeah.
And if I were to say, hey, you should try the Parawing, what are your views? What will you tell someone that is on the sidelines now and they're like, I want to give it a try, but I'm not quite sure. Why should they try the Parawing?
Yeah, it's many reasons why, but for sure it's sensation, which is really close to kite foiling for me. Then is this one hand power delivery control, which is super important. And you can do, I think in the future we can do really crazy tricks because of this bar control we have. So it's really many, many options. And also, like I mentioned before, with bigger sizes, this sensation of gliding over the water just in column C and like kite feeling. Yeah. So it's really, I think it's only sport which give you now in the water so many opportunities, from really pure downwinding till race kite foiling feeling, So I think it will open really big discipline, wide door. I think we'll have the wider range of all water devices we use now, the Parawing.
Yeah.
So
and
I'm really addicted with Parawinging, and all my focus now is to develop all this, what I see in my head. So I work full time on this now. So
amazing.
I think it have a nice future for sure. And it's not so hard like people see it. The most important is, like with all water sports, you need to go well powered. So into the water. So when you feel it that you are powered on the ground, it's not enough. You should be even more powered, because when you are on the sea, this force is 50% less, like you feel it on the ground, because you start to move, you start drift down, and it's not enough. So the main mistake is people go under power into the water when they learning Parawing. So play on the ground. What is also nice with Parawing, you can really train on the ground, You can give to your kid, you are not afraid will something happen like with the kite. So he can build the skills already a lot, just ground handling, And when you are on the water, then is, how to steer, then it's just the foil, So
I think that's crucial.
Yeah, all the technique of
not many people do it.
Yeah, you can teach on the ground. On the water is only join the foil with the Parawing. That's it.
Yeah, you see people learning kite surfing or kite foiling. They spend 2 days on land learning how to control a kite, and then they go and they body drag for a day without the board, and then they get a board. So, highly encourage people to get out there and just do some land drills. It's going to save you so many hours on land.
For
in
sure,
the water. Sorry.
I saw also the community from the kite. It will go into this sport because they are learning pretty fast the sail, because many times I give to my friends, and the guys who are from windsurfing or wing foiling can never touch kite foiling. They struggle with the steering.
Yeah.
But if you give to the kite guy, he just in a minute he knows what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the main problem for the kite, let's say for twin tippers to go to the parawinging, is they are not able to perform the jibes, then where the windsurfers are coming. But if you are in kite foiling, is no problem, because anywhere you do jibe. So I think the easiest to enter this sport, they are kite foil guys. This they can do it in a 1 hour, I think, or less.
Yeah, I agree.
Because
the wingers might have a little advantage with the balance on the board, but to build that balance doesn't take too long. It takes a few sessions and you're you get it. I agree. I think kite control is more important. Just like you, I'm completely submerged in parawinging, and that's all I do. I mean, I will take the kite out and kite foil now that it's summer and we're going to get some sea breezes like 12 knots, 15 knots. And in those days, if I don't have a big parawing, I'll still take the kite out and have a lot of fun. But I really admire what you do, man. Like, your products are up there with, the biggest brands and, the people with the biggest budgets out there. And you should be really proud of what you produced. The stuff that I've seen and experienced with your pairings is absolutely awesome. So I need to try this UDW now, because that's the style of pairing that I like. Small, compact, short lines, lower aspect ratio. So, well, let's have a chat. Maybe we can get one down for a demo.
Sure. Good.
But thanks for coming on, El. Do you have anything else you want to share with us, man? Like, this is your time, and anything else you want to add here, feel free to share.
Yeah, I just wish the more people will approach the sport. And we are doing a 777 kites and paragliders. We are doing full-time focus now on this. And also what I want to point, it's really important for the final touch of the product. We are a small company, but I'm designer and I'm riding, I'm testing, so I do all once. So if you are designing and not really ride it, it's really difficult to get all the little points. So sometimes it's not only how big is company, it's more important how is designing flow works inside. And it's not all about the money, it's more about the passion and ideas you have and the time you invest to these ideas. So that's it.
Good job, man. Keep doing what you're doing, bro. I want to see more stuff coming out of 777, and can't wait to test this UDW.
Okay, nice to chat with you, and all the best.
Thanks, Al. We'll catch you soon, man.
Yeah, bye. Thank you.